In the small village of Bethany, just outside Jerusalem, lived three siblings, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. They were dear friends of Jesus, and their home was a place of welcome and warmth for him. But one day, sorrow filled their house. Lazarus had fallen gravely ill, his life fading away. Martha and Mary, worried and desperate, knew they had to reach Jesus. They believed he was their only hope. Martha said, "We must send for Jesus. He loves Lazarus. Surely he can help." A messenger hurried to find Jesus, who was teaching in another town some distance away. He carried the urgent plea from the sisters. When Jesus received the message, he spoke calmly to his disciples, revealing a deeper purpose. Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. It is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Yet Jesus stayed where he was for 2 more days, a delay that must have seemed agonizing to the grieving sisters. Then he told his disciples it was time to go. Jesus said, "Let us go to Judea. Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going to wake him." The disciples were confused by his words, thinking Lazarus was merely resting. Jesus explained plainly, removing all doubt. Jesus said, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe." By the time Jesus arrived in Bethany, the worst had happened. Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days, the hope of his sisters extinguished. The village was filled with mourners, their wails echoing the depth of the loss. Martha, ever the active one, ran out to meet Jesus as soon as she heard he was near. Her heart was heavy with grief, yet her words held a flicker of faith. Martha said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died, but I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus looked at her with profound compassion, offering a truth that transcended the present sorrow. Jesus said, "Your brother will rise again." Martha, thinking of the future, responded with the common understanding of resurrection. Martha said, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Then Jesus spoke words that would forever define his identity and power. Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Martha's response was a powerful declaration of her faith, even in the midst of her pain. Martha said, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God." Martha called for Mary, and together, weeping, they led Jesus to the tomb. It was a cave, with a stone rolled across the entrance. The crowd of mourners followed, their grief a heavy presence. Jesus was deeply moved by the sorrow he witnessed. He gave a simple command. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha hesitated, practical in her grief, knowing the state of her brother's body after 4 days. Martha said, "But Lord, by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." Jesus gently reminded her of his earlier promise, calling her to trust in his power. Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" They obeyed and took away the stone. Jesus looked up to heaven and prayed, not for his own sake, but for those watching. Jesus said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." Then, with a voice filled with divine authority, Jesus called out loudly into the silence. Jesus said, "Lazarus, come out!" Everyone stared at the entrance of the tomb, breathless with anticipation and disbelief. Suddenly, Lazarus appeared, walking out, still bound in his grave clothes. Jesus gave a final instruction, signifying the complete restoration of life. Jesus said, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." Astonishment and overwhelming joy swept through the crowd. Lazarus was alive, walking among them. Many believed in Jesus that day, for they had seen the glory of God revealed before their very eyes. This miracle was not just about restoring a life to this world. It was a powerful sign that Jesus truly is the resurrection and the life. It showed that through him, death does not have the final word, and all who believe may have hope beyond the grave.